People with OCD, anxiety and intrusive thoughts. What are some ways y'all have come up with to try and cope? I have OCD and it can be a real annoyance. Recently I noticed that it's affecting my personal relationships and life in general. Any advice would be highly appreciated.
I don't really have a way to cope, I just live with it. Anxiety meds have been a game changer, but there's one mindfulness tool I love. Take a small object in your hand, close your eyes and describe the object in your mind. Focus on how it feels, list every detail you can remember about it. It helps to ground me in the moment and focus less on the source of my anxiety.
Nothing. The more you engage and/or resist, the stronger it gets. Accept and understand that you are not your thoughts. You cannot control them. Whatever ever you would be doing if you were not anxious, do that. As for intrusive thoughts, realize that's all it is. Thoughts. It's no different than the thought about the movie you saw yesterday or the guy you saw walking his dog. They are all thoughts, they are not unique. Your brain is attaching judgment and labels trying to help you out, then the alarms go off. Everyone gets intrusive thoughts, everyone. But most people don't get stuck in a rumination cycle. I.e., your friend hands you their baby to hold. Your brain immediately gives you the worst case scenario. Man, I hope I don't throw this baby over the balcony. Of course you wouldn't, but you fear it. Then the rumination and judgment starts. Rinse and repeat. Once you stop engaging and honestly do nothing, letting the thoughts go in one ear and out the other, do they stop sticking around. You can acknowledge it as you know, well that's weird, whatever, carry on. Or even visualize it like a cloud in the sky. It's no different than all the other clouds, letting it just float by. But sitting down with the thought, trying to interpret or push away, only makes it worse. Aside from all the shit above, mindfulness and meditation really helps. Especially with being able to do said above. Wish you the best.
Nothing beats doom scrolling social media.
I got a prescription of buspirone from my GP. Helped a lot with reducing my anxiety without any bad side effects. You'll still get anxiety, but it's not as overwhelming and your physical response to anxiety isn't as strong, so stuff feels more manageable.
When I kept having intrusive thoughts about someone hurting my family, I tried thinking of comical outcomes instead, and it actually worked. Change the whole narrative. Actively make it a game. You choose your own adventure.
I have generalized anxiety disorder. What helps me is to focus on a sound noise around me or visualize the place I'm in and ask myself questions about it.
I've been microdosing psilocybin mushrooms. It resets my mind and greatly reduces my depression and anxiety. Each person is different, but you need only take a very small amount for a few days, about 3, broken up during the week, then lay off until you begin having another bad stretch. Repeat. Your bad spells will get further and further apart. Exercise helps. I started a 3-day routine last year and it's helped take the edge off the irritability caused by OCD. Lost 25 pounds too.
Meditation is good. Mindfulness. An app called Buddhify is very good for that. OCD and anxiety, I tend to find, comes from overthinking things. Sometimes it's good to remove yourself from a situation that causes these thoughts and take some time out.
Music and headphone all the time.
Therapy and medication.
Find a way to turn it to your advantage. I work in a job where OCD is appreciated and I have everything I need because I plan so far ahead. I check everything multiple times a day, so I have no one to blame if something is missing from my life. Turn compulsions into tendencies.
Bursting into songs sometimes helps for me. Distracts my mind. But only for a min. Those thoughts always come back.
I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety by the VA and given a low dose of Lexapro, as well as a class in cognitive behavioral therapy. The combo worked reasonably well, but the Lexapro made me feel too flat to want to exist, so my doctor and I decided to work me off of it. For the longest time I just stuck with the CBT. And TBH, it worked reasonably well for being just thought exercises despite the pandemic and the incredible social withdrawal we all had, but it wasn't enough on its own. So I picked up a medical card for cannabis after an edible from a friend helped me through a dark patch. Thus far, that combination of CBT thought exercises, and being able to recognize my anxieties for what they are, combined with cannabis to cut down on intrusive thoughts, has led to a much more positive feeling towards my progress. Life is still tough, but I'm trying small steps and succeeding, and being able to look past my anxieties and see that happening makes a huge difference. I lost weight, I made friends, I reconnected with family, I started saving money somehow, etc. It's hard to quantify how important to me it has been recognizing those small successes, and it's not perfect, because weed stereotypes and truths can generate whole new batches of anxieties, but it's better than where I was, and seems to have more positives than negatives for now. So I guess I'd say I'm an advocate for cannabis and cognitive behavioral therapy.
There's some really good breathing techniques. 324 works for me.
Go see a psychiatrist if you can. I didn't get a handle on mine and I wound up having a psychotic episode when I was 20. Everything pretty much went downhill from there. Like, I recovered, but my life didn't, if that makes sense.
I just think about my purple dildo and it brings me a lot of comfort.
Daily medical cannabis use.
My strategies are go to sleep, go for a walk somewhere quiet, drink some water, be by myself for a few hours, avoid caffeine or sugar. I also find being in water shower, bath or beach to be very therapeutic. Lying flat with my feet up can also calm me down. I am medicated too. Don't be afraid to see your doctor if these issues are getting too difficult to deal with.
Advaita Vedanta. Look up an intro video on YouTube. If it doesn't catch your attention in the first hour or two, it probably won't. Good luck.
Anxiety meds and exercise.
I have anxiety and I have what I like to call a worry stone. I noticed that I like to have things in my hands when I'm anxious, so I rub the worry stone with my hands to keep them busy. Otherwise, I start scratching at myself or my hands get super shaky.
Counseling. Talking it out with someone really helps, being validated and being given techniques to try to break habits that are harming you. Last week we were talking about my narcissistic mother. This week we talked about dyeing cleaning techniques that make it more manageable. My house is a tip.
Can't think about the bad if I am high every day. The bad doesn't matter anyways, so it's okay. I just have one panic attack a week and sort through biggest problems. Then have a relaxing week.
I don't really have a method or coping technique. I just let it scream until it dies eventually.
I live with it quite often. Sometimes if it gets really bad, then headphones, noise cancelling, or just ones with music, comfy clothing, and doing something slightly complicated and intricate. I make jewelry on some occasions, and if I'm not working with pliers, then I'm drawing tattoos for friends or family. They don't ask for them, nor are they going to even get them, but I draw them to take my mind off of it.
I ask myself if it is something I can really control. Usually it is not. I ask myself if the thoughts are helpful or hurtful, because sometimes going through the thoughts is better for you. To just let them play out and go through them, but sometimes you're just being mean to yourself. Yoga and meditation. Shout out to Yoga with Adrian on YouTube also helped me lose weight. I try and get ahead of myself. Set alarms for me. Find different ways that make me feel better in my home, and that would help take away the little stressors throughout my day. I also have my own unique ways of keeping my on task with doodling in a notebook with my own color code systems, shorthands, and a large whiteboard calendar that's also like my notebook but more in your face. And I try and be nice to myself. Through all of it, give yourself the grace and love you would to someone you regard and love. Be your own best friend in a way. Good luck. It's a rough life some days, but keep choosing you and moving forward, whatever that looks like for you. I also heard that anxiety is you trying to live in the future, depression is you trying to live in the past. I try and identify what it is that really is bothering me or preventing me from just living in the present, the now. Every day is different in this, but getting easier with practice.
Honestly, just going to therapy and trying to acknowledge the separation from my actual thoughts, values, and the intrusive thoughts. Sometimes it helps me to make a list of things, people that are important to me, and how I am not doing them any harm.
High prescription for Prozac, ERP in intensive program, an additional 6 months of weekly therapy. Currently reducing Prozac and being kicked out of therapy because the therapist doesn't see a need.
I just don't. The anxiety always wins. If I fight it, I throw up. Though not caring about some things helps, but if I get anxious about something, there's nothing I can do to stop it. Intrusive thoughts, though, I just tell to fuck off. I don't have OCD, but I do get anxiety. My coping mechanism is to pump out new thoughts faster than regret can form for a different thought. It works well enough to get me through the day, after which I sit in bed unable to fall asleep for a while as my regrets try to catch up.
Something I learned in therapy that helped. 1. You will never ever feel a 100 good. If you can go up to like 70, that's a fucking good day. There isn't a, now you are cured, and life is happy dappy now. Therapy gives you tools, not a cure. 2. Extreme acceptance. Imagine your thoughts like waves. Just let the wave take you, drown for a while, and then accept. Yup, I have these thoughts, I can't do anything right now. Do this while closing your eyes and sit still. Cry if you need, shout if you need.
Sticking with a workout routine has helped me tremendously, and it doesn't need to be necessarily difficult. Go for a walk, run on a treadmill, body weight exercises. Start off small and work your way to something more challenging. Hopefully this helps. Telling myself these are just thoughts. They do not have power unless I give them power helps me with anxiety and OCD. Reminding myself that I'm in control of my thoughts to an extent and my thoughts don't control me.
There's a good interview with Chris Evans talking about his role as Captain America. There's more to it, but he basically talks about whenever he has a negative thought, he identifies it and pops it like a bubble in his head.